Hello, YouTube, and welcome back to Classically Weird. My name is Headmaster Howard.
And I am Ragana Ray.
And today we are covering A Quiet Place. Real quick before we dive into the breakdown in our conversation around this, we do want to let everybody know we are evolving the nature of this show into more conversational. So moving forward, these are going to be more just her and I chatting around the movies, things that we enjoyed, things that we
which we have
liked.
been doing. However, we're going to look at dropping our ratings. We're just going to let you guys know yay or nay, because it's what we've been watching and looking at and how we want to try things out, because this is our little weird realm that we've created.
Exactly. And for those of you who enjoyed the educational side of what was being presented before, some of that will still be present in the spoiler zone of these videos. However, I am planning on breaking that out into a different series, as it would be.
Of a sort. Yes.
Where I go further in to breaking down themes, characters, why they work, that kind of thing. But a different format to make that a little bit more structured. And we get to just talk about horror movies in this format, and that's something that we are both incredibly excited for.
And very much enjoy doing.
Absolutely. It's definitely one of those things where we get to have the love for it coming back, and get to have a little more of our personalities kind of come through
on it. Yeah, so. Absolutely. So we're going to try it out. So we hope you'll continue to hang out with us and see what we thought of various movies in the horror, slasher, weird genres.
All right, my love. So why are we covering A Quiet Place?
Because it is a movie that we've joked about because it really affected me. And multiple people that you game with have asked jokingly if you've gotten me to rewatch it. So I did it for you guys, and thank you to the fellow gamers that have been watching and following along. I appreciate you guys. We appreciate you. And Headmaster does tell me about some of the comments and stuff. So again, I rewatched A Quiet Place for you.
All right. So this film was brought to us by John Krasinski. John Krasinski starred in, directed, and helped write this movie. And I'm a fan of John Krasinski. I have been ever since I saw him in The Office as Jim. And it's really interesting to see him taking on more of the production side of film. And this was actually his third directorial endeavor, but his first horror endeavor. And I think he pulled it off masterfully.
He absolutely did.
So
because
good.
We know that this one deeply affected me for days. And we have really discovered I don't do well with alien stuff. We can watch paranormal stuff all day long. But when we start getting into the alien scary zone, it really, I don't settle well with it.
So Krasinski was actually quoted as saying he wanted to make this a silent movie with monsters.
Man, he did. He really did. He really did.
Now, he did have some help in writing this. It was Scott Beck and Brian Woods, the same writers and directors and producers from Heretic.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Nice.
And that's something that actually I called out in our Heretic video.
Yeah.
So
I forget things and you remind me. I'm always excited.
You know what? It happens to all of us, right? I forget what I had for breakfast, right? But
I am trying to think. So the silent movie with monsters, and that's what got me so much on this, is because I'm a loud person, and I've said before the social media trends that were happening when people were like running with their cats to see if they would make it through A Quiet Place, and I have said my cat and I just wouldn't make it. It would just be brutal, and that we would absolutely have to start building a bunker. So that is, you and I have different goal levels for our channel, and one of those goals is going to be help me build a bunker
so that she can survive
so
a quiet
I can
place.
survive a quiet place. However, I did, big spoilers, when we figure out her hearing aid thing. Yeah, that's where I want to come back and talk to you about that.
Save that.
Okay.
That's spoiler section.
Oh,
We
okay.
are still in the non-spoiler
we're still
section.
in the non-spoiler zone. Sorry. Okay. I'll be quiet for a quiet place for a moment.
All right, so one thing that I do want to add into the spoiler-free section while we're still here, the effect producers of this was Industrial Light and Magic. Now, Industrial Light and Magic have been around the industry since the 70s. If you think back to those iconic movies that you watched as a kid growing up, all of those types of things, more than likely they were involved. Just to note a few franchises that they were involved with: Star Wars, Indiana Jones, Jurassic Park, Back to the Future, Titanic, The Matrix. They have been around a while. So you want to talk about a movie having awesome effects, knowing that they're attached to it. Whoo.
Nice.
Yeah. Now, some of the inspirations behind this while they were writing and all of that stuff, one was the Alien movie franchise.
I see that.
Right? That is pretty easy to see. With them so far as later in the franchise, one of the streets is actually named the Nostromo, which is the ship from Alien.
Oh, okay. See, and I wouldn't have caught that, but nice little nod. I like those little, what do they call them? Easter eggs?
Yeah.
Is that an Easter egg?
Well, it's a reference.
It's a reference.
Yeah.
A nod. I call them nods. I like to call them nods to
tip of the hat.
Yes. Oh, tip of the hat. Oh, that's a good one too.
Now, John Krasinski also cited Jaws as a reference of this. So it was a major influence, noting the use of sound to build suspense and the theme of a small town facing an unseen threat.
Oh, okay. I see. My brain just, you can see my wheels spinning, trying to connect. How did Jaws connect? That would make sense. Yeah, I got it. Okay.
Yeah. In this, you have Emily Blunt.
Yes.
Who is John Krasinski's real life wife.
Oh, cute. And
went through all that, which we'll get to. Which we'll get to.
Okay.
Spoiler free. She did say that she pushed him to hire her for the role of Evelyn, who's the mom's name. Pushed him to hire her instead of another actress once she saw the script.
Really?
She wanted to star in it.
And that's beautiful too, because believing so much in your partner and taking on that endeavor with them, because you said John Krasinski wrote it.
He helped write it.
He helped write it, and
he directed it and starred in it.
So that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Nice nod to her. Yes.
They're a beautiful couple as it is, and they have a family. They have multiple kids. And
and then putting yourself in the intensity in that thought process, even if you already know the ending, you're kind of already thinking, how would you handle this? How would we handle this as a couple?
Right. It's interesting. You also have John Krasinski. Obviously, we've already gone into his involvement into it. You have Millicent Simmons, who plays the daughter, and she is actually deaf.
Oh, wow.
In real life.
Okay, cool. Not cool, right. Just the representation. Representation. Thank you for that clarification of you, because you understand my brain and a lot of them don't.
Not yet.
Okay.
And really that's it as far as notable actors, so on and so forth. The son was played by Noah Jupe, who really, I don't recognize him from anything else, really.
I didn't go down a deep rabbit hole.
Yeah, if anybody in the comments wants to call out and point out stuff that he's been in or things of note for him,
yes,
yeah, let us know. Now, awards and accolades that this has gathered in its time. First of all, Stephen King called it a work of genius.
Oh, wow. Stephen King.
Stephen King.
Nice. Okay.
Right.
The one of the many men of horrors.
Yes.
Yeah.
Who a lot of people think is the king.
The king.
Pun intended.
Yeah.
Of horror.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair. He's in like the top 3 when I think of
men who defined the genre.
Yeah.
Some critics noted it is a return to pure cinema, storytelling through image rather than sound or dialogue. Pretty interesting. Did earn an Oscar nomination for Best Sound Editing.
Okay.
And
earned a nomination. It wasn't
a nomination.
Okay.
Not a win.
Okay. But still, freaking to earn one.
Right? To even be nominated is a big deal.
Is a huge honor.
It's a really big honor for anything actually related to the horror genre, because a lot of times horror in the big picture is kind of seen as less than. It's cheap thrills, all this stuff. There's a lot of how it's seen by the industry. Yeah.
So many of us flock to it.
Right? Emily Blunt did win a Screen Actors Guild Award for Best Supporting Actress.
Congratulations. Here, she pushed to be in it and then won with that?
Yeah.
She had a feeling. She knew this was going to be a winner.
Oh, yeah.
Because it really is. I mean, even watching it again, and after rewatching it and pushing past what was bothering me so much, I'm excited to watch the next ones.
All right.
So, yeah, let's go down this rabbit hole.
Kind of like me with Sinister, how I'm excited to dive into the next one.
Yes. Yeah. So look at us, pushing past.
Pushing through. I like it.
We're taking this journey together and, checking out some new genres for ourselves.
And one last accolade, as it would be, before we start moving into the spoiler zone.
Okay.
This has now become a film school staple for studying visual storytelling and sound design.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That's really cool. He's just got... John Krasinski, I know him from The Office. I never finished all the way through The Office, but just that character, and then seeing him in this, and then knowing that he wrote it or was part of writing it, had a big hand in that, and then acting it out, just that whole the dad,
So, would we recommend this to people?
Oh, absolutely.
Hands down.
Yes.
This is definitely a good one. If you have not seen it already, go pause this video, go watch it, come back, and the spoiler section will make a lot more sense.
Or hang out and, because sometimes I've seen spoilers or somebody's told me a spoiler and I still went and watched something and it pieced together once I watched it. So, you have been warned.
Proceed at your own risk. All right, welcome to the spoiler section of A Quiet Place. We can now unmuzzle.
But you know what? So since we were in the spoiler, and that hand that over the mouth when Emily, I know I knocked my glasses and everything in the first 10 minutes of the movie, Emily Blunt's got her hand over her mouth and having to watch her child be taken away.
Oh, so rough.
That squeeze on the face. And I know you don't do well with children in movies.
Nope.
And right away, it's within the first, so the event has happened that this town is now under attack is how the movie opens, and it's within the first 90 to
so it's 89 days in.
89 days.
So it's 3 months in.
3 months in, and everybody's still trying to figure out what's going on,
how do we survive, but
the biggest thing is don't make noise.
Right. And this movie does a great job of show not tell. when it comes to that.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
they show you the effects of them needing to be quiet and all this stuff
Right away.
and that kid being taken out in that sequence solidified that for us. It let us as the audience know immediately what the dangers were, what the risk was. Because up until that point, you're kind of like, okay, why are we being quiet? Are they being hunted?
Hunted. Like what's happening?
And then we see as the series of events happens, and him being taken out like that, just it shocks you and it pulls you immediately into the world. You get invested into it. And it makes so much sense once you see that.
I immediately was zoned in on the mother's character. Just her, that scream through the hands just set the whole vibe of everything. And then you also see immediately that we're in this scenario and there's a break in the family because the Reagan, the daughter, she is the one that handed the brother the toy that made the noise that caused this to happen. But everybody now in the family is feeling their own guilt for why this child got taken because they were so new in what was going on.
They were.
Because then it fast forwards to
about a year and a half later. Roundabout.
So and she's
day 476,
and she's carrying another child. So immediately, everything that you know about a woman having a child, you're like panicked. I was panicked for this family because that suspense of you're looking at the calendar and it's got a circled estimated day of when the baby's coming, and while they've built this kind of safe space for themselves that they can live, they have this impending doom. But you also can't make any noise because these creatures are going to come for you, and you are so unsettled. I use that word a lot. Within like 20 minutes of the movie 20 minutes in, my face is like holding the blanket up and biting. Like, I can't believe this is happening.
So this film really has three major themes to it.
Okay.
So you have the parenthood theme, right?
Oh yeah.
The fear of parenthood, the potential dangers around that. You also have loss, grief, which you've already touched on, and to me, disability as a strength.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Where that comes in. Yes.
So on the parenthood one.
Okay.
John Krasinski was quoted as saying, "It's about a promise that you make to your kids that you'll always protect them even when you can't."
Oh, man. Yeah.
That hits.
Yeah.
That hits home.
Yeah, I'm not tearing up. See, it's a good thing I wear glasses.
The film taps into the parental fear of not being able to keep children safe. The threat of a noise-hunting monsters makes every aspect of parenting, from a child's cry to childbirth, a life or death situation.
Yep.
It's just crazy.
Yep.
And
it does. It grips you right. Like I said, 20 minutes in, you're completely gripped with all of those fears coming like from the parental perspective. And I laugh about the people that did the social media things with their cats, but that's the same sort of thing. Anything in your life that makes noise, you turn the corner too fast on me and I make a squealing sound, so suddenly having to go from every step you take has to be thought out, planned out, noted, and trying to teach little children this.
Yeah.
And how many of us have autistic children?
Right.
We personally do. So, like we just thinking of how to even train them to be like,
Right.
Oh, it hits on so many of those notes.
It really does.
Wow. Yeah. See, I still get shook up. We talk about it. I'm like, even though I've come up with my bunker plan.
Now, one of the other things for the parental theme of this, it also does really harp on the need for parental sacrifice. And we see that with Lee, John Krasinski's character, very bluntly. We see that. He sacrifices himself to save both his son and his daughter in an act of pure love, pure trying to protect them. And it's moving. It really is.
Yeah, oh yeah, that moment when Lee sacrifices himself.
Oh,
I will probably, yeah, I could cry right now because it's that moving.
it really is. And it does show the length that a good parent would go to protect their children.
Because all through the time too, he's teaching them and pushing them past their fears. Because we see that in the scene, the son would much rather be at home or at the compound with his mother versus going out and doing the fishing and what is needed for their survival, because he's so petrified. But can you blame him? He's watched his brother be taken away, and all of these, any sound can bring your demise.
It really can.
And then you have the daughter who's like, I'll go out and do this, like, let's go, I'm ready to defend my family, because she's also got the guilt. Everybody's got the guilt.
She needs to prove herself.
She needs to prove herself within the family again. And then you have this pregnant mother. So it really does. And what is she going to go through to needing to protect, which is already here still, and what is to come?
The hope for new life and new opportunities amongst death.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
And how many of us have watched the different types of scenarios of these like apocalyptic worlds in which you end up adapting to, or do you become the man in the woods that just screams when and give up and just ends it?
Now, the theme of loss. Okay, shifting gears a little bit.
Okay.
The theme of loss. Reagan is haunted by the guilt that her actions led to her brother's death, which you've already talked about. But honestly, that kid has a little bit of autonomy in that as well. She did hand him the toy. He went back for the batteries, though.
That's what nobody realizes, and
no one tunes into it.
Nobody, yes, because you see the scene where she takes out the batteries. And they take out the batteries. So I don't remember exactly. The batteries were taken out because there was a noise.
John Krasinski took the batteries out, and it was almost like he was handling a grenade.
Yes.
He was like,
yes.
Yeah. And that's one of those things that at first you're like, why is that such a big deal?
Yes.
Yeah.
And he wants to play with the rocket ship, and his little heart wants this rocket ship because he thinks that's how they're going to get out of this scenario. They're going to shoot off. This is our escape. And she, being a good big sister, handed him the toy, but little one took the batteries and popped the batteries back in. So sometimes, we take on guilt and we don't even know the full story.
It's true. Now, this does lead to her believing that Lee blames her.
And doesn't love her
as much. Which I can see, if I'm looking at it through her perspective, I can see it. But at the same time, like, I don't think that's really what's going on there. I think Lee, as the father, has actually turned his guilt inward. He is himself felt guilty over the situation and over the loss of Bo, the youngest son, and blames himself. He doesn't blame Reagan. I don't think he blames really anybody. He's blaming himself for not protecting them more. And that actually also plays into the parenthood side of it, because what this movie does very interestingly is it shows the two parents who have different strengths working together to deal with this situation. You have the mother who's nurturing and loving and educational and all of that. and she's planning for their future, and the father, who is protective, taking care of their right now in this moment,
The survival.
right? So Lee, I think, took on a lot of that guilt for not being more protective over the situation.
And
or
again, how
preventative.
can you, I say it, we would tell somebody else not to beat yourself up over not knowing how to handle something at a particular time, because then we get more information, or we learn and we grow. But Lee really does. He takes on everything is that survivalist mode, and then trying to be a parent, and everybody speaking sign language.
Yes,
or
American Sign Language.
So, but trying to reprimand your kids, like, I'm sure, like when the other son was being kind of defiant, not really wanting to like do the schoolwork and didn't really want to go out, and trying to, again, be a parent in a realm where you have to be very quiet. And I could just feel that like intensity sometimes when she was trying to, or when Reagan would act out a little bit.
Yeah.
And you're all trying to suppress your emotions.
Yeah, you're
as
like
well.
bubbling under the surface.
Everybody's bubbling because you can't express. Except for there was that one point that they could express, and everyone in the family needed to go and have a good scream at the waterfall. That if you got behind the waterfall, that it was enough of a natural sounds, because these creatures that are hunting, I think they've adapted and understand like what a water sound is, what an animal sound is. So if you're behind the waterfall, it dampens the sound enough that you can talk normally.
Yeah.
And I thought through part of it, like, he should have taken each one of the kids there and had conversations, but then you wouldn't have had the intense scene where he sacrifices his life to save his children. But
Now, on that topic of nobody really being able to express what they're feeling, they needing to suppress all of that, I think it really leads to a theme that I don't think gets talked about enough with this movie. I think that this is a representation of what they do here with this, of families masking their guilt.
Oh.
A traumatic event happens, and instead of talking about it, instead of dealing with it, they go through and they just hole up, and they refuse to actually talk about it and work it out healthily. And in this situation, you really can't. So there is that danger element of it too. It is an interesting way to think about how we process trauma, how we process guilt, because Lee feels guilty, Reagan feels guilty, Evelyn feels like she's broken in a way, like she lost her youngest baby, and we see her break down and cry in the rocking chair. We don't really see Marcus's point of view at all.
Because at the time he was sick. He was being carried because.
But the loss of your sibling was still.
Yes, so he's the one that didn't really have to take the guilt because he was visibly sick. That's why they were out looking for medicine for him then.
Well, wouldn't that also partially lead to some form of guilt? I'm the reason we were out here.
But he doesn't really ever.
Yeah, he doesn't really ever express it. But I think he does a good job of representing that person in a traumatic situation or a family situation like this, who tries to build the bridges between everybody. And we see him do that with Lee and Reagan. He points us out at the waterfall. She thinks you blame her, etc.
Maybe you should tell her that
you love her.
That you love her. He's explaining, no, I love you both. And he's like, maybe you should tell her that. So again, not suppressing emotions, but now that they were at a point that they could talk,
he can share it.
And unfortunately, he never gets to have another moment with Reagan, because when they get back, there is sound that brings these creatures to the farm, and now they're under attack.
Yeah. Now, the last theme that I have listed out here, and then we can start breaking down other stuff if you'd like to, disability as a strength.
Mm-hmm.
So the sign language that the family was using was actually a great strength to them as a survival tool in this situation. And they would have had to have learned that due to Reagan and all that anyways. And they just adopted it to being their primary mode of communication. So that disability
became their family strength.
Became a great family strength. On top of that, the colloquial or cochlear, I'm not sure on the pronunciation, so I do.
But the hearing, the additional hearing device that she had to wear that attaches in, they figured out was another.
Ended up being a weapon.
Ended up being a weapon for them.
Ended up being a strength.
Yes.
And that was cool.
Yeah.
In a way. So
it was unique.
It was unique.
It was unique.
Yes.
And something that I don't right now that I can think of that I've seen anywhere else in some sort of in a horror genre film, other than, like using your walking stick as a weapon.
Right.
But the fact that your disability being the strength, like you said, the American Sign Language, and that's also, so if we ever hear of creatures that have attacked and are listening for us, that's going to be our first mode of, besides the bunker, sending out obnoxious wave signals to take them down. I'll let other people figure out that science. I'll be in my bunker. Me and the kids and my cat. Know your strengths and know your weaknesses.
So this was filmed in Pawling, New Paltz, New York, Hudson Valley region. The farmhouse and the silo were constructed as actual sets.
Okay.
And the corn that they bring into the silo was actually all harvested from local farmers.
Oh.
They paid them. They did all that. Yeah,
that's cool. That's cool.
The waterfall was real. It was filmed at Buttermilk Falls in Ithaca, New York. So again, New York.
Okay.
And the sand paths used over 300 tons of sand. It was crazy. That's a lot of sand.
It is a lot of sand. And just for reference, in the movie, they put out sand paths so that it's quieter for them to walk across. So, I mean, you figure you step on a branch, anything, can trigger these things to come out. So that was smart of them to, utilize sand pathways.
It was. And walking barefoot through it like that, that it makes sense.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, your feet would be so tough and
so
rough.
Sore.
Oh my goddess, yes.
Need a pedicure. The creatures were created late in the production. The monsters were mostly CGI, done by Industrial Light and Magic, as I mentioned earlier.
Those things were so, even though CGI,
they're so disturbing.
They were so disturbing, and that going into the ear and their ears opening up, and the sound and the clicking of that was just, and to be quiet and have to hear as the audience all of that noise and what they were
feedback. Yeah. Part of the inspiration behind them was bats and crabs.
The way they walked around, bats and crabs, that totally makes sense.
And they had another film inspiration for it, the xenomorphs from Alien.
Okay, so we have to rewatch Aliens. Fun fact or weird truth. I had a weird truth about me. Aliens was my parents let me watch it back in the 80s, and I started in front of the TV, and by the end of it I was underneath the coffee table, and that's the only time I've ever watched it from start to finish. So we'll have to go back and explore that so I know what the heck those little thingies are. But crabs and bats totally make sense to me.
Go ahead, hit her in the comments for not knowing xenomorphs. I know.
Shame me.
I know you Ridley Scott fans are out there. This film does a great job of using naturalistic and warm tones throughout its lighting sequences. Red lights, alarm / danger, warm tones, family unity, all that stuff. the cool tones, dark, dangerous, like deadly. So it does a great job of utilizing that color spectrum. There's a great shot of Lee sitting up on the silo with that campfire going, and you get the cool in the background. So it's like safe here, danger out there. So there's some really good usage of tone throughout, color tone at least. Camera movement wise, camera language, this is shot very close. There's a lot of like tight shots, is to symbolize the danger, the needing to be quiet and all of this stuff. It's very good. They do a really good job of long shots as well, long tension building shots. It does a great job of that. And one other thing that I really liked about this cinematically, some of the scenes, like think back to the bridge scene as they're walking over the bridge and the kid holds up the rocket. There was a great use of shallow depth of field there, where you have just the person in focus and everything else is out of focus behind him, or behind them rather. It has a great job of showing the tension and not sure what's going on, especially when they shoot to Reagan and the sound goes out, that shallow depth of field. She's really isolated, doesn't know what's happening. So really cool stuff that they did cinematically.
They really did. And that cutting in and out of sound when you were going between like what you could hear like around you, just the sounds of, I'll say, nature, and then Reagan, who's got no sound at all, and that is eerie too.
It really is.
It's jarring for me throughout it,
because to a point she wouldn't even really be able to tell what sound she's making.
Yep. How do you even know what you are doing when you can't hear anything but know that there's this horror around you?
Right.
But she's a tough little cookie.
She is tough.
She's a tough little cookie. And that was something I really noted the second time coming around. And I want to let you finish what you've got there before I go on a ramble.
Speaking of sound, about 90% of the movie uses diegetic sound, which is that coming from inside of the frame, so something is producing the sound, whether that be footsteps, breathing, the waterfall, so on and so forth. There's a lot of that, the radio, that is actually making the sound in the scene. There's not a lot as far as like actual soundtrack goes. But there was a composer for this, and really he tried to keep it at a minimum. He really did. Because there's nothing really that sticks out to me about the soundtrack of this at all. The whole point was to make it almost like a silent film. And on that note, the original draft of this script had one line of dialogue.
Oh, wow.
One.
Wow.
Now, John, when he got involved in the process, he rewrote some of that to include the themes of the parental struggle, so on and so forth. And this movie ended up with about 25 lines of spoken dialogue, with the rest of it being through American Sign Language.
And there's kind of some mouthing, like you can hear, like almost if you're
like whispering.
That
would be the vocal dialogue too.
It was very like when they're in the underground in their little bunker safe space, it's like you could come to a whisper.
One last thing for cinematography before we move on into a different topic.
Sure.
The childbirth scene was shot in one take.
Wow.
One take. That's impressive.
That's really impressive, because we, even in our own stuff, understand how long and different takes can be, but to nail a scene like that, and she's got a nail in her foot.
We'll come back to the nail. Don't worry.
Gosh, the nail in the foot.
we'll come back to that.
In one take,
One take.
After that,
And
that's
to nail such a vital, pivotal scene and one that has so much tension to it. Amazing. Like, so good.
No wonder she won Best Supporting Actress.
Right?
Yeah, that would make yeah.
All right, my love, you ready to talk about the plot?
Oh, I'm ready.
Okay. The opening scene, we've already hashed out quite a bit, right? But it does a phenomenal job of setting the tone for the entire movie. It really does. It lets us know the stakes right away. It builds tension. It's like
it just launches you into it.
Yeah, and it sets up emotional turmoil.
Yep. And it doesn't let you go.
It doesn't.
It every step of the way, because as we said, we jump into how many days late, a year and a half, but they went by days,
right?
Which also, I mean, when you think about anything by days, it's intense.
So they went from 89 days to 472 days.
And they've established their farm, and it looks like that was their farm because they keep going back to a house.
Yeah, so you have the house on the farm, and then the barn, and then you have the crops and all that.
All of that. So was it like established that was their house?
I'm gonna make the assumption.
That's what I felt. And because they not like I guess my mindset in that is in other films when you are fleeing, and then you find another location to be safe at. So, okay, so it's their house. They've established like an underground. They've already kind of, at least they knew that they could take care of themselves through like growing stuff potentially.
Yeah.
So they've got their safe space. We have pregnant mother. And in all of that time, he's going to take the son out to go fishing to see about, he's going to have that experience with him. And so we realize that they go fishing that's one of their sustainable protein. Reagan's helping take care of the farm, but she also kind of goes off and does her own little thing as well. But we're also watching the calendar because we've got a very pregnant mama and how they've got the date circled, but that's also just a guesstimate, a hard guesstimate, because that can happen anytime in between that red and where you're at today, because they show it to us. That builds more tension.
It does.
It just, that feeling for her of that anxiousness and that knowing that that's coming is a whole other, just that grips you and level. keeps you going through the storyline with them. I am having a hard what brought the creature to the farm.
I didn't even tune into that either. I don't think they ever showed what it was.
Yeah, like all of a sudden there was a creature at their farm, and they were coming back. The red lights go on, and Mama goes into labor during this time. And
I think it was due to the stress.
The stress that she goes into labor. She's also stepped on a nail. And she can't scream. That's you're walking around barefoot and she steps on a nail, and the cringe that happens. So again, you're still gripped. So now you're like, she's having her foot is cut open. She had to like pull it out. Oh, are you holding something on me? What you got there? What?
The nail in the stairs.
Okay.
It is a perfect example of another one of the classic heroes of horror, Alfred Hitchcock. It's a perfect example of his concept of bomb under the table.
Okay.
Have you heard of this?
No, tell me.
So the bomb under the table concept is, if you have a family sitting around a table just having a conversation, there's really no tension there. There's no nothing. The bomb under the table, all you do is you cut from them to a scene of a bomb ticking away, and then you cut back. Now all of a sudden there's tension. Because every word now has that, oh God, when's that gonna happen? Oh no, when's it gonna go off? Oh no.
Yep.
And it just builds that, and we see that very clearly, because the idea is the people having the conversation have no idea it's there. but we do as the audience.
As the audience.
And we're just praying, like, just
Please
look
don't,
at it.
please,
Just
please
look at
don't.
it.
Yeah.
Right? Just notice it's there and avoid it.
Yeah.
Right? Or get away from the bomb.
Yeah.
But this was a great example of that. This also ties back into that show don't tell concept of this, which is, I think, part of why they're using it a lot in film schools now as an example.
Because maybe a lot of it has gotten away from that. I keep flashing into my head around them also during this time showing us how they're having to build a soundproof
the bunker
box.
Yeah.
Well, the box for the baby.
Oh, the box.
Because what happens when you have a newborn? And how are you going to muffle that sound? And that's another life or death decision in the parental realm. And I'm going to say something that this is something that made me think about years ago when I was in college and I was taking a class, and there was the question that was asked around this of making the decision between you or your child. And there's like women of the Congo that are running through and trying to escape and have a child, and making the decision to, do you smother the child to save yourself and and others, or how do you handle the situation? So that took me back to that scenario again.
Ethically, what
do you do? Do you have the child and unfortunately not keep the child? But they show us they're attempting this with a bed that they're making, that they're like padding the inside, and they've gotten a hold of an oxygen tank that they're gonna put in with the baby, so when the baby cries that they can basically muffle it in a box. And even just having to make that decision as a parent in that scenario is another part of it that gripped me in thinking about, like, what
back
do you
to that concept of parenthood.
What do you do? Like, in that scenario, we currently have 2 small children. What happens when another, if you have another one and you're in this scenario,
right?
But we see that they're trying their dangdest to make this work, but also what happens if it doesn't work? And
that's a struggle I think a lot of parents can actually relate to, not on this extreme, obviously, but that struggle of, if I have another kid, things are going to change. There's going to be struggles. There's going to be sacrifice that needs to happen. And like, how do I deal with that? How do I change for that?
Yep.
And is it going to work out? I hope it works out. So there's that underlying theme there.
Yep. And you see her trying to figure it all out. All that knitting that she was doing. And you then see that she's lining this baby box to protect what's coming and what she currently has, and utilizing what you have around you at all times is, she's really like nesting and figuring that out to protect her family.
Yeah. Interesting. I hadn't tuned into that. So let's talk about the Lee's sacrifice.
Okay. Oof.
So in the scene leading up to that is the childbirth scene where Lee's coming back to the farm. He sees the red lights. He panics. He tells the son, go send up, rockets.
Yeah.
Right? Go
They're
distraction.
Gonna make the distraction.
Big noise.
Yeah.
Big noise.
Big noise.
Right? And he runs in to try to save Evelyn, finds out that she's fine. Well, not fine, but she is okay, and the baby's here.
But that whole scene is so intense when you're watching him trying to get to her, because there's a creature in the house and is like going towards her as she is having this child, and it's just.
And then you see him with the shotgun too, and you know that's just gonna pull more.
Yep. And there's a moment when he's asking his son, you need to go make this noise, and he says, your mother needs you. Yep. And there was that, and you could see the son just shift, like, because he was so hesitant. He didn't want to leave his dad, but he was like, your mother needs you. And that young man just took off, ready to help his family. It was like, sometimes we just need trigger words that, positive word, that lock it in. And sometimes, it takes a few words and then you can lock somebody in. And he was like, I got to help my mom. And at this point, because Reagan has gone out away from the farm, she has seen the bangs.
Yeah, and she saw the fireworks.
Because she went out to see her younger brother's grave. Her guilt took her away from the farm to see her brother's grave. And she comes running back, and now everybody's is separated. So there's also panic and turmoil.
Like, where's Reagan?
Yeah, and so Lee and Evelyn are now in the bunker with the new child, and Reagan and Marcus are out in the field. And now, as parents, they're having to protect the new one and trust that everything that they've taught their children in this scenario, that they're going to be okay out there. This movie just doesn't give you a moment to breathe.
Really doesn't.
It's just got a grip on you, because every scenario is hitting you again and again.
And then we see as Lee is there with Evelyn, he's gotten her into the bunker. Now he's like, okay, well, I need to go check on the other kids. But you see this, I don't want to leave you. I don't want to leave you and the baby here. But I need to go make sure the other children are alive and okay.
And is that also there's also that now knowing, or I think I've heard and seen before, that John Krasinski and Emily Blunt are a married couple, but also that emotion in that stage, because there are some, like, this is my partner, like my life partner. So also walking away from them and making that decision is got to be extremely difficult. And then also connecting on their emotions, because they could connect with their own kids and that feeling. So there's just more depth into that scene with them, because I feel like they could pull from each other. And how would this relate if you had to walk away from me for our kids?
Yeah. There's definitely that tension.
So much tension.
So much tension.
So much quiet tension.
So Lee goes out to go find Marcus and Reagan, and he sees them pretty much falling into the silo and all that stuff.
Which also, now knowing that the local farmers that they all paid for that, they were like a main character. The corn was. There was a moment of main character, because those kids almost died in the silo, and I had no idea that corn was that kind of.
Oh, that is a thing.
I didn't know that. When you told me that there's
it's
people
like
that,
quicksand.
I did not know that. When you told me that that's legit, that people die in silos like that all the time, I was like, oh my gosh.
Because like you go to move and things just shift out underneath, and it ends up piling in on top of you.
Thinking of being suffocated to death by corn that was a new fear unlock.
That's a real thing.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So again, they go into the silo, but this is where we find out, because her ear
implant
is making the noise,
the
feedback, and that creature, the bat crab alien thing that I don't understand, busts a hole out through the silo, which ends up saving them to get out, because now you've got a river of corn out on the farm.
Yep. Lee sees them running away from and trying to get to safety, and sacrifices himself to save his kids. In that moment when he stopped and he locked eyes with Reagan and he said, I love you. I have always loved you.
Oh, he signs it to her. Yeah.
Was very moving.
Oh my gosh.
And it spoke volumes. Even though he never got to tell Reagan that he doesn't blame her and things like that, I think that was one of the most moving scenes of the entire movie.
Oh yeah.
Like the tension scenes and builds and all that, amazing, but this was cathartic in a way.
It really was. So they've had to run towards a car, a truck, and are hiding, and it's from a distance, and he's getting ready to sacrifice himself to the creature so that the kids can get to where their mother is. It's like you knew that his demise was coming, but moment that as he was like saying goodbye to his kids and telling Reagan how much he loved her, I felt like the movie just like stood still for a moment.
It did.
It just there was yeah, like every, I don't know, it healed maybe something in me too. It was just, yeah, such an intense scene. And so we're both like teary-eyed just thinking, I'm like watching you,
right.
And we're both teary-eyed just thinking about how beautiful they made that scene,
that sacrifice. Yeah.
And which then to me, which I picked up on, for me personally, Reagan becomes a badass. Like,
the final scene.
She has just gotten the validation from her father, and he has just sacrificed for her survival, and like her brain just like unlocks, and you see her when she goes in, and now she's got her mom, and she's like looking at all the evidence that he has been tracking.
She's piecing the puzzle together.
And there was a room that he kept her out of. And now it's like a monitoring room and she also sees that he's been trying to fix her unit all this time because it hadn't been working properly. She puzzles it. It was like when you see in any of those
like a beautiful mind,
but also like the crime scene things where like, how does this connect? And
with the yarn,
and she just was like bam bam bam, and she realized that this sound volume, it could be to their benefit. And she just like, there was something about her that just stood a little higher. And once Evelyn realizes her partner's gone, but there wasn't like a grief in her. There was like this, I really now have to step this whole other level. And there was like this mother-daughter like power moment that I was like, I want to see part 2. Like, I want to see how they have gotten this far and are going to keep going.
The mother and daughter reclaim their agency in their protection.
Okay. They reclaim their power.
Exactly. They
Goddess
reclaim
level.
their power. I love that this movie ends on confidence instead of fear.
Yes. And that was a big takeaway for me watching it the second time, because we know I walked away from it before with a lot of fear and just, she
was going on about it for days. It was like every time we would get in a place where it was quiet, she'd be like, I would never survive. It was just, it was really constant loop.
It did. There was so much that had happened. I mean, from the moment, as I've said, 20 minutes into it, Bo has already been taken out. You've got this pregnant woman. It hit on so many of my fears that I wasn't even like seeing it all clearly, I guess I want to say. But coming back around a second time and seeing that empowerment at the end, I was cheering and was ready to like, let's watch part 2.
Yeah. I fully agree.
Yeah.
And we're going to get to part 2. That'll be coming up at some point soon. It's on the list.
What's going to be our next video that posts after this?
Sinners.
Okay. So you have some time. Check out Sinners and then come and see what we have to say about it.
All right, everybody, I think that's going to wrap up our conversation around A Quiet Place. We have thoroughly enjoyed going back and rewatching this for this endeavor. And really, I think we covered everything. If there's anything that we missed or anything that you want to weigh in on, let us know in the comments below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe in order to stay in this weird world of cinema with us. And final question / thought for you guys. In a world where noise can get you killed, what lengths would you go to protect yourself and your family? Let us know in the comments below.
You can't use bunker. And until next time, stay weird.